I think 2021 was a successful season, but also a very tough season. You know, coming off the back of 2020 where we didn't play that many games, it did feel like a real tough and long season. I think everyone felt that at some point.
From my personal point of view, I think very proud of what the players have done and what they've achieved on and off the pitch and the way they've worked together. And it is like a family.
I think as a team we were so close to a lot of stages, and but I loved it. It was awesome.
This year's off-season was good. We put a lot of hard work in. We obviously had the COVID year the year before where, you know, we had some good games, some not so good games. Obviously the one against Somerset was a real standout for us. That made us feel like we needed to really put some effort in and work real hard this winter. So that winter we really put the work in, and I think everyone felt real confident coming into the season, you know, knowing that we'd done as much work as we had, and we were all excited to kick off. Yeah, it was obviously interesting to find out that Dorse was leaving at that sort of time. It was quite a tough time to find that out, but we knew that the ECB were really keen on him, so we probably had an inkling that eventually would happen, and you know, we sort of got together as a group and decided, you know, we have to just crack on and support Harv as much as we can. You know, we know Harv very well, and we knew he'd do a good job, and we had to just put it behind us and work extra hard and really support him in his role.
I think at that stage I did feel prepared to take on that head coach role, as just learning from Dorse over those 6 years taught me a lot on and off the pitch. Implicating any new ideas at the timing of when it happened, I think is quite tough to do. We'd already pretty much set our plans in place for the season. It was just trying to continue on what we had been doing.
The dynamic was very similar, and it was a very similar vibe in the changing room. I think if you bring someone in at that late stage, things change and people probably don't really know where they stand. So I think, you know, the decision to do what we did, I think, was the right decision.
Jamie Overton, he's there, he bowls to Dent, and Dent cuts over the top of the slip, and that's flown away to the third man boundary for 4, and that is it. Gloucestershire have won by 8 wickets, a superb run chase from 36 for 2, Van Buren and Dent.
Yeah, that first victory against Surrey was unbelievable. I mean, it meant the world to us. Going into the season, we didn't know what to expect after the COVID year, you know, only having a handful of matches, and against a quality side like Surrey, it's always, you know, a tough competition. My approach was a bit, you've done the hard work, you know, you've had a good season last season, take a little bit of confidence, you know, and let's do something special for the boys today. I'm here with Denty's done the hard yards. We could do something special here. You know, we just proved to ourselves what a good side we can actually be. We backed each other for the rest of the season from there with a great belief in each other. So, yeah, it was awesome.
About Gloucestershire's batting so far this season. Here is Leach, he's in, he bowls to Bracey. It's a full toss and it's played away wide of mid-wicket, and they come through for the single. That's all that's needed. Gloucestershire have done it. They have beaten Somerset by 8 wickets.
Yeah, the Somerset game was a big moment in the season. Obviously, the year before, having lost the way we did, we sat in the changing room after that loss, and we had quite an honest chat with each other, and felt like we weren't quite good enough. You know, we'd been promoted, but we probably weren't quite ready for teams of that standard. So, yeah, getting to play them again pretty quickly in the season, I think, was a good thing for us. We got to go there and challenge ourselves again, and you know, I think we just went in with a better mindset. You know, we went in knowing that they were going to come hard at us, and we had to stand up and be counted. And I think that's what we did. You know, and I think not just for us, but for the supporters, I think that did a lot for them, and showed that, you know, we can mix in with the best. And Somerset, there's no doubt there, in 4-day cricket, they are one of the best sides around. But I think we obviously aim to win games, so that's what we want to do. But I think everyone was probably a little bit surprised at how comprehensive they were and how well we did play against 2 of the best sides in the country. So it was a fantastic start to the season. You can't get a better start than that, those 2 sides. You know, we looked at the fixture list, saw those 2, knew that it was going to be a real tough start to the season, but to come out with 2 wins, I think it really, really helped us. I think it would have been easy for our expectations to change, but I think we all understood that we were 2 games into a season. You know, we had to win a lot more games than that to compete. So I think we tried to stay as level-headed as we could, and you know, then we were sort of brought back down to earth, and we went to Hampshire and played against them, and we were up against it pretty much most of the game. You know, it was a very different type of game to the 2 before. But then also it showed a different type of fight in our team, which pretty much from day 2 it looked like we were going to lose that game. So I think that actually, you know, felt almost as good as the 2 wins before that.
Oh, good catch.
That week leading into the game at Lord's was probably the best week of my life. We knew my wife was heavily pregnant. We knew she was due to drop, and I had to miss a couple of games, obviously because of that, and just waiting for little one to come. And when she did, obviously that was probably the best moment of my life. When she came, we had a game 3 days later, and I'd never played a 4-day game at Lord's. So that was a huge bucket list thing for me, and very kindly my wife said, yeah, you know, little one's here, you can go to the game now. And going into Lord's, as I say, I just enjoyed the occasion, I think, and being there and playing 4-day cricket, playing at the home of cricket. And yeah, whether that's what helped my performance or whether I was just had a good game. But to take a 5 from the first innings was very special, and that was almost enough for me probably to vindicate going off and leaving the little one. But no, to then back it up in the second innings with 6 and finish with career best figures, and as well to do it on TV, I guess that's something everyone loves doing when the cameras are on you. If you can put in a performance, you know, it only helps. I think that was really huge for us as a squad and as a team, and for the club to actually show, you know, however many people were watching, that actually Gloucester's not a little club and we're not a second division. We're actually moving up the ranks, and we're actually challenging, and we want to be challenging for that championship. And so to do it at Lord's, at the home of cricket with the cameras on, doesn't probably get much better than that.
Having fans back in middle of May was absolutely amazing. So we had the Somerset fixture, which obviously is a huge game in any cricket county's calendar. But for us as a local derby, local rivals, it was massive. And the first time we played them at Red Bull Cricket up here at Bristol for many, many years. So it's a real highlight. I mean, and you know, as so many people said, that we're just a ground, we're just a venue. We're not much more than that until the public come back in, and the supporters and the members, and then we become what we are. We're a proper club then, we're a proper family. So it was huge for us, and you know, nervous. We were all really nervous. All the people who worked at the club, I know the players were excited but nervous. The stewards, who quite often come across as a rough, tough bunch, were pretty nervous about it too, because the first time many of us had been that close to other people for a long, long time. But it was a really special moment, and obviously we got off to an absolute flyer against them as well. And I remember the first Somerset wicket when it fell, just the noise around the ground at that point. It was like a T20 quarter final or something, the amount of volume that came out of it. So it was a really special day for us.
You realise how much impact it has, just having a bit of a roar from the crowd behind the team, and it just lifts you. And it's just, you know, I guess as professional sportsmen, that's what we want to do, and that's what we play for. And at least they're back in now.
He's given the first wicket for Gloucestershire.
So the Leicester game, when we arrived, I think they probably scrambled us from the offset. They were putting some kind of dust on the wicket to help their spinner. They put it on a spinner's length, and you know, they'd obviously thought of a tactic instead of, you know, reading it and just sitting back and going, okay, this is what we've got in front of us, what we're going to do. I think we probably whinged and moaned a bit, and you know, just took the game day by day, as I say, as opposed to actually just sitting down and logically thinking about how we're going to do this and how we're going to win this game. Going on to Surrey, it was a similar thing. We turned up, and it was a used pitch, probably 4 or 5 days old. We just didn't learn from it, and the county season, a lot of people talk about the toll it takes on you, and this was the 6th or 7th game in a jam-packed first couple of months already. And I think it just started to take its toll straight off the back of Leicester. People were disappointed with that result. You lose the toss, Hashim Amla scores 150. We threw everything at them. They batted really well. So yeah, those 2 games all in all were a tough couple of weeks. Definitely think it was a good thing at that point that T20 cricket came and give us something new to work towards.
Shaw round the wicket and finally gets the breakthrough. Garton frustrated with himself.
Really exciting when the sort of bigger crowd started to come back in. The first one was that 25% crowd we had against Sussex in the T20. What we've done was made a conscious decision to build the extra stands we normally have for the internationals earlier in the year. So rather than building them just before the one-day international, the men's one-day international, we put them in a good few weeks ahead so we could use them for the entirety of the T20 campaign. The atmosphere was electric. It felt a bit like champagne cork going off to a certain extent. People just wanted to be here. They were grateful to be here. They were supporting us as a club. They were supporting each other as spectators and fans. And whether you have good days or bad days on the pitch or off it, those are the things that you really remember.
Members and supporters that visited the Bristol County Ground in 2021 would be, I hope, very pleasantly surprised with the creation of the Legends Walkway and all the work that's gone into branding and placing Bristol on our walls, so the work of Silent Hobo and his street art. Even more than the look and feel of the ground, we had a couple of really positive improvements on our facilities. So although the Thatcher's Bar was built in 2020, it hadn't actually opened its doors to a member or supporter until 2021, and that's instantly proved a very, very popular spot. And we've created, above the Thatcher's Bar, a new hospitality terrace area that we're working with St Austell, now called the Korev Terrace. And that's proven to be an instant hit, especially on the T20 nights, but certainly something that members can also enjoy for Championship and RL50 matches.
Being able to host men's and women's international cricket is singly one of the most fantastic things that we're able to do here as a county ground. I mean, it's such an honour to be able to host the very, very top flight of men's and women's international cricket that we feel incredibly lucky to do so. And this year being entrusted with 3 women's internationals and obviously our men's ODI as well is really important to us, and we want to keep building that. A recognition that the county ground is a great place to come watch cricket, but also that international teams can come here, they can enjoy their time here, they can play great cricket on great wickets. And in the last sort of 5-6 years, we've hosted more days of international cricket, men's and women's, more matches than any other venue in the country, which I'm immensely proud of. One of the really important things we've got a sort of job of ours as a first-class county is to produce players that can go on to play internationally. And we've had a bit of a quiet spell in that respect, but it's great to see that James Bracey and David Payne both got recognition for that this year.
Yeah, the ODI call-up was completely out of the blue. Last thing on my mind, we'd had day one of Cheltenham. Obviously I was standing skipper for that game. So that game was purely the focus of my mind, and that's all I was thinking about. So as I say, we'd had day one. It was the morning of day 2. I was in the hotel room, checked my phone and saw I'd had a missed call from Chris Silverwood and a WhatsApp message from him. Yeah, it's surreal thinking about it now that he just asked could I come and join them down in Cardiff, and obviously explained what had happened with COVID and they were putting a new squad together, and I felt like a kid at Christmas again. I guess just couldn't wipe the grin off my face. And I was saying, every time I think about it now, I almost just want to put that grin back on. The recognition alone was huge, and it was almost all I needed a little bit. Feeling like you're close, but not knowing it can be a real stress. So just to get that call, so not playing a game, I would have loved to. Everyone knows I would have loved to. But actually just being there and experiencing it for a week and being able to say that I was called up to the squad and that I've been part of an England squad and to know that I'm that close was huge. Was huge for me and what I really needed at that point in my career, and it's just given me a huge push to keep going and try and get there again.
Shifting from the men's ODI to Cheltenham the next day is always challenging. I mean, but the reality is we've been there quite a lot in recent years. I mean, the 2017 Women's World Cup, we doubled up. 2019 Men's World Cup, we doubled up. So we've got quite a lot of experience of sort of either delivering both at the same time or sort of chopping and changing from one to the other. I think the significant thing about Cheltenham this year was we obviously hadn't had the event at all last year in 2020. So we were absolutely determined at the beginning of the season that whatever happened, we were going to go to Cheltenham and we were going to play a festival of cricket there. That was a sort of non-negotiable in our sense. Again, same challenges, slightly a very different layout this year, and one actually which I think worked really, really well, and I'd like to think we'll see more of that. It had a slightly different style, but it didn't lose any of the Cheltenham sort of the magic, the stardust that Cheltenham has. So that was a real treat to go there, and huge thanks to our operational teams and also all the teams at Cheltenham College, etc., for all the help in setting that up, because it isn't easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of thought, especially with a new setup. But it was magical that first day when I walked up there. I'd seen it a little bit the week before in the build-up, but to turn up there every single year, I get that tingle down the back of my neck, and to see it looking better than ever this year was incredible in the circumstances we were all under.
The 2021 Cheltenham Cricket Festival was a massive highlight for us as staff, but also I think for everyone who would have attended in that fortnight. It looked really different to the 148 festivals that came before, but our operations team worked their absolute socks off to put on a festival that really did bring to life what a celebration of cricket it is at Cheltenham. And it's given us a foundation to really build from as we go into what will be the 150th anniversary. The Cheltenham Cricket Festival is always special, be it in County Championship, T20 or one day, but in 2021, every single match had something riding on it. It was of huge importance to the club and how the rest of the season would play out. And so it became kind of doubly important, really.
And that's clipped up in the air, out towards deep square leg. A dive, and it's taken by Jack Taylor. And that is the game. Gloucestershire have done it. They have beaten Middlesex.
People always say that there's a story at Cheltenham. So we arrive on the first morning and Ryan Higgins' partner has given birth on that morning and he's not going to play. And Chris Dent's got a broken finger. So there's two people who you'd ideally like to have in the team. Gloucestershire get a modest first innings score, but still get a lead over Middlesex. And in the second innings, they build the advantage to a point where Middlesex are left to bat for a day and a half or score 420 to win. That looked like a big ask, but for a while, going into the last day, Stephen Eskenazi and Darryl Mitchell put together a big and patient partnership. And then, talk about stories at Cheltenham, it's Matt Taylor's birthday on the fourth day. After tea, Gloucestershire need wickets, and he takes 4 wickets for no runs in 10 balls. And that's the difference in terms of Gloucestershire winning the match.
Yeah, so obviously when it got to Cheltenham, unfortunately I'd injured my finger in a T20 game at the Rose Bowl. So yeah, it was obviously really disappointing because Cheltenham's obviously a fantastic period of the season. It's the time that everyone wants to be a part of and playing. So yeah, it was hard to watch that, but it was great that the lads performed really well in that first game against Middlesex. It was fantastic to watch that, and obviously then the Hampshire game was a tight one. I think the lads did really well, and I wish I could have been a part of that, but unfortunately it wasn't to be this year.
I don't think I can remember a greater sense of anticipation for a 4-day game at Cheltenham for a long time. I think people knew it was going to be tense because of the way the mathematics were. Somerset were already through. Gloucestershire had a 6-point lead, which meant unless the scoreboard looked really odd, a draw would be fine to qualify them with Somerset. And Hampshire knew that they had to win. Very simple. It was set up to be basically a knockout game. And you don't often get those in 4-day cricket. And you did have the ups and downs throughout. Gloucestershire won the toss. Could they get a big score? Not as big as we would like. Could the bowlers get some profit out of the pitch? By the end of the second day, there wasn't much in it. Every time you thought Gloucestershire might just be getting into a safe position, they'd find a way to get a wicket, a bowling change or a fielding change. And just that freak incident with Ollie Price felt pivotal because the other 2 wickets went pretty quickly after that. And it meant that Hampshire had basically done the difficult bit. Chasing 54 wasn't going to be an issue. But if you look at the season as a whole in the Championship to that point, Gloucestershire had won 5 games out of 10. They'd played some very positive cricket, and they'd also experienced, particularly in that Hampshire match, a lot of emotions which will hold them hopefully in good stead for Division 1 cricket that we can all look forward to in 2022. That relentless standard where you don't get a cheap session or a cheap hour from somebody.
To be so close and coming down to that last game and so close, few points here or there throughout the season can make a difference to getting into that top 6. I think it was a great position to be in, but it was also very, very frustrating because we did come so close and we had played such good cricket throughout the season.
It showed how far we've come, firstly, you know, playing against some of the sides we played against who are very strong, and it shows where we're looking to be. You know, we're looking to challenge next year when we get when we're in the first division. We're looking to challenge for the title. We're not there to make up the numbers. We're there to try and beat some of those sides and end up hopefully near the top of the table.
The T20 in 2021, I think with Gloucestershire having got to the finals day in 2020, certainly getting out of the group would have been the minimum they would have been looking for in 2021.
The T20 quarter-final is something every year we just have an expectation of ourselves, and this year was no different, and this year seemed like it was going to be no different that we'd get there. And like I talked about with momentum with T20, you lose one and it's a strange thing that actually it's tough to get back and get the ball rolling again. And suddenly you've lost the 2 out of 2 and you'd go into Taunton away, and you go into Somerset, our biggest rivals. You know the crowd's back, and you know the Sky Sports cameras are going to be there, and suddenly it's a huge occasion. It's a must-win game. I say, whether we were just on a bad run of form and we'd caught some bad momentum, or whether these teams actually just played well against us. Somerset, I remember it felt like the first innings. I remember being in control of the game. We bowled really well, and Tom Lammonby comes out and has a day out and played an unbelievable knock. Sometimes I think in sport, sometimes that can happen. I guess we pride ourselves that we should always be at the quarterfinals, and we do. We don't want to stop there. It should be finals day, and it should be. I think with this squad we got, it should be a trophy any time now, really.
There's lots of belief in that dressing room, but as I said, there's just a little bit of frustration that in those last few games we just couldn't get the job done.
In the T20s, if you ask me who the most exciting player to watch was for Gloucestershire in 2021, you'd have to say Glenn Phillips. Phillips can turn a game in 40 minutes. And what struck me about his innings, he paced them very well. In particular, he wasn't afraid to get to 16 overs and only have 30 against his name, because he knew if he had a lot of the strike in the latter part of the innings, he could add a lot himself. Not only was he a good bat, but he was a handy bowler, and that catch in the Middlesex match at Cheltenham would have been the one moment that people walked away on that day talking about.
Carved away, Manny's out at backward point, and it's a great catch. It's a great catch from Glenn Phillips on the backward point fence. Oh, what a bonus that is.
Going into the Royal London Cup, and with the 100 being with it, losing some of our key players and some of my closest friends was an interesting period of the season. But yes, I was really excited for that. Excited for a new young group of players to get some good opportunity, and I thought we did really well in some challenging times during that Royal London Cup. So to make the quarterfinals was also amazing, a great experience. So yeah, it was really, really nice.
Looking at the start of that 50-over competition, I think all counties were missing a lot of players, obviously, with the 100 ball. So it was a really good opportunity for county sides, and especially us, to give some of the younger guys in the squad an opportunity. And one of the things we've been very good at is when it comes to knockout competitions, and when we get our backs up against the wall and we know that we have to win every game, then that's sometimes when you play your best cricket. And look, we still believed after those first couple of games that we still had the squad and the players, and we still had the belief in the changing rooms that we still could go all the way.
We needed some key guys to step up, and they did. Yeah, that definitely kick-started our momentum, and you know what happens when we get some momentum. We're pretty lethal, so that was, I think, a great start. No, that last game at Kent was actually an interesting game because we just came out of 5 days of quarantining, so we didn't even have that on our radar. We didn't think we were going to play that game, but we rocked up actually quite nice and fresh in the head, and then we got over the line. And I don't know, me and Denty have a special bond in the middle. We don't say much, but we do connect, and we do, I think, suit each other. Like when I score, he doesn't. When he scores, I keep it quiet. We complement each other really well. So love batting with Denty. The game at the Oval, always going to into a quarter-final, there's always pressure, there's always nerves. I think we were definitely ready for the game, especially after, like we spoke about earlier, about the momentum we had. We needed a couple of big guys to stand up, and unfortunately on the day, they had a couple of guys that stood up and, outplayed us a little bit.
I'd captained for 4 years, and I felt like it was the right time to call it a day there. I think, it's a tough job captaining in a county side. It's very busy, there's a lot to do, and I felt like for my own personal performances and for the team, and also, life away from cricket with my family, I felt like I needed to step down and have a bit of a break from that. With the new coach coming in and the new setup, I thought it was a good opportunity for the coach to decide who he wants to do it and take some ownership on that. And, I'll look back on it with real pride that I got to captain, my childhood club and a club I've been at for so long. Obviously, getting promoted is a real highlight, and that was a really exciting time. And then last year, the amount of championship wins we've got, and looking back on that, I'll be really proud of what we did. And I hope that I've moved the club forward, and then whoever takes over now can also do the same.
I think one of the big achievements this year was winning more county championship matches than any other county, and I think the team should be immensely proud of that. I think it's one of our greatest achievements actually in the 8 years I've been here. We're also very conscious of a club as to how important it was, and it would have been quite easy after Cheltenham to sort of say, do you know what, we've done all right here. We've won quite a few matches, but we don't need to invest. We're not looking for anything more. We'll let the season peter out. But we were very clear that we wanted to finish as high in that second group division as we possibly could. There were a lot of very strategic, tactical decisions we made as a club and as a board as to who we wanted to bring in and where we need to finish. And the members and the fans had missed the whole year of cricket effectively, and we wanted to give them something back and do it in a way which ensured we finished as high as we possibly could.
I think obviously the opportunity to play in Division 1 is going to be great for the club, and we want to compete. We want to challenge for the title. We don't want to just try and stay up or be mid-table. We want to try and challenge and really, set the bar high for ourselves, because I think we've shown we can beat those best sides. We just need to consistently do that and do it for the whole year.
I think we're ready to win the T20 trophy. I think that's probably going to be my goal personally for the boys, to certainly to get to finals day. But I think we can go all the way.
Yeah, I would love to see us, get some silverware, and I think I'm excited for that.
I'm also really looking forward to being able to mingle again, being able to walk around at Cheltenham, being able to walk around here, because still being stuck in the change room didn't quite feel like you could still have that relationship with the fans that we used to have when we could walk around and talk to them and soak in the atmosphere.
There's a huge amount to be excited about in 2022. I mean, it will be lovely to hopefully start the season with very little restrictions on what people can and can't do. We've done a huge amount to sort of invest across the club. We've got a new performance director in Steve Snell, who is obviously well known to many of the Gloucestershire faithful, and we've got a new head coach in Dale Benkenstein, who is one of the most talented, exciting coaches in the world, and I think will do brilliantly with us this year and for the years to come. So straight away from a cricket point of view, we've got that. We've got some new signings joining us as well. I mean, obviously we know about Ajit Singh Dale, who's joined us, Paul van Meekeren, who's joined us, and some others to come down the pipeline as well. So that's huge. It's great to see other things. Our community teams expanded, tripled in size from 1 to 3, already making some great shakes in the local area. You know, it's great to see our support of, you know, Afghan refugees. Locally, we've got the ACE programme, which obviously particular focus on Afro-Caribbean, on the black community across Bristol and Gloucestershire. And that's great to see that here in a city that's as diverse as ours. I think we need to be out there giving everybody the opportunity to play cricket. I mean, it's a fantastic sport. And hopefully we'll get lots of people playing, lots more people watching and helping communities, supporting initiatives that you know make people's lives better, more fulfilled, give them opportunities they wouldn't have is absolutely fair and square, you know, a responsibility we have, and it's more than just something we could do or might do if we fancy it. It's something we have to do, and I think that's really key. The environmental piece, environmental sustainability, we've made it very clear we want to be the most environmentally sustainable and considerate cricket club in the world. If we don't get these things right now, we won't have a cricket club to play at down the line. You know, cricket is one of those sports that gets hugely affected by the weather, and you only have to look at the days lost to inclement weather across the world to know that we have to do something, we have to play our part. And again, I think these are things that make a difference and make us more than just a cricket club. These are things that get me out of bed in the morning, and I can't wait to get going. You know, exciting new cricket team, new coaches, new players, community programmes which are, you know, hopefully going to blow the socks off anything we've done before. You know, a genuinely considerate environmental programme which is going to make a difference not just to us but to our kids and their kids. It's brilliant.